Everyone, so in this roundup, I've decided to add a little color commentary to the question, and we get this fairly often: can I rescind an offer to a pregnant applicant? The details of this question are as follows. The doctor writes to us and says, "I finally found someone to fill an open assistant role. I was really excited about onboarding her, but after sending the offer letter, she revealed that she's pregnant. She's not due for another 8 months. I'm hesitant to hire someone who is going to need so much time off so soon. Can I rescind the offer?" So this is one of those instances where, if you're looking at the roundup, we've written some guidance here. We've covered the legal side and we've covered some of the human side of this. I highly recommend that you read through that because there's a lot of concern here on my part for you that if you are subject to any of the anti-discrimination laws based off the size of your practice or your location, that you could really get yourself in a lot of trouble. It would be very, very difficult for you to come up with another reason why you would be rescinding this offer other than you discovered that the employee is pregnant. And that's the main concern here, is that the law is clear. You cannot discriminate against someone either in their application process or in their hiring process or in their working for you based off of their pregnancy. So I wanted to speak to something else and share a little bit of a personal story with you. I had this literal thing happen. Early on in the early stages of Cedar back in 2006. Yeah, that's like 300,000 problems solved ago. We were hiring for the first time. We were going from it was me and then it was me and one other person. Then it was me and me and three other people. And it was time to add another position, another role to the team. And we had this person come in and, we had several people interview, but one person interviewed really well. They had the skills and we knew that we wanted them. And the way that I can prove to you that they were the best person for the role is that they stayed with us for a very long time after that before they left. They brought some skills to our team that we didn't have. They brought some experience we didn't have, which is what we call a difference maker here at Cedar. They were just a really good fit for us. So we make the offer and we get back we got back a text. Can I talk to you all? I have to tell you something I didn't tell you in the interview. And she comes in actually, and with a little bit of tears in her eyes, she says, I wasn't honest with you, and I need to tell you that I'm pregnant, and that I am going to be due in about 6 months. And she basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, "I'll just have the baby and I'll be at work the next day. I've had 2 other kids. I know how to do this. Don't worry about it." And we were, we just kind of looked at one another, myself and the other person who was doing the hiring. And okay, number one, we're an HR company. So no, we're not going to be rescinding a job offer to a pregnant employee if there's any way that we can accommodate this. And so not only did we tell her that it was going to be okay, that we felt like we could get her fully trained up, we also offered her maternity leave immediately. We offered her up to 8 weeks of maternity leave. She would not have become eligible for that according to our employee handbook until she had been there longer. Nonetheless, we went ahead and offered that to her. And then in the end, I was in a little bit of a position at that point where we were actually able to pay a couple of weeks of her maternity leave, which began to set a precedent for us here, whereupon in this company, we do pay for several weeks of maternity leave, even though we're very small, well under 50 employees. That is one of the benefits that we have here. Spoiler alert, I'm surrounded by professionals who are women, and they are raising families, and if I want to be supportive of them, that's a decision that I made. And again, they got to jump through some hoops, and there's other things that have to happen for them to get to that benefit. I digress. Let's go back to this employee. Look, we just made a plan. All pregnant employees need to get back to work pretty quickly. Unfortunately, in this country, with few exceptions in some states now, there is no financial support for people who go out of work due to pregnancy. And so in the end, because we did our best, because we did not rescind the offer, because the job she was getting with me, with us, was a step up, because she could bring all those wonderful skills to me, I made my arrangements with her, and she did come back at about 5.5 weeks part-time. Her doctor had to clear her, by the way. That's something that we made her go to and go through. And she came back to work, and I think that she earned her way with us all those years. She didn't owe me any favors, but because we took the extra step to work with her, it wasn't that bad. It was, in her case, it was about 5 weeks. In your case, it could be 6 or it could be 8 weeks, whatever your policy is. But if you've been doing what we all do and going through and having, 150 people apply for a job, only 10 of them are qualified. Of those 10, only 5 intend to show up to any kind of an interview, and only 1 out of those 5 is really your very best candidate, and they're often a very good candidate. I think doing this sort of thing for them not only is healthy for them, it's healthy for your business, for your long-term relationship with retention. And by the way, it sends a message and a way of being out to everybody else who works for you. That is the kind of place that people want to work for. So I understand, but you can get through these 5 to 6 weeks, whether maybe it's 8 weeks if there's some kind of complication, we hope not. But I hope that you could find a way. And because I want to say something with you here. She's been honest. Maybe she didn't tell you, she doesn't have to tell you in the interview, but she wanted you to know fairly immediately. So she's trying to be as upfront as she can. I think that's a good attribute in a new employee. And I know that this is really long, but I'm a little bit passionate about this. I personally don't have a family. We don't got to go into that. I decided not to have a family. I decided to be a manager of bands and travel around the country till I was probably too old to be a dad. Nonetheless, I love that the people around me are raising families. I like supporting that. And quite frankly, people who have families that need to support their families and their kids and one another, they also need jobs. And those are the folks that come to work every day and perform better, in my opinion. So again, this almost turned into a podcast. It was so long. I hope I imparted some knowledge here. Read the roundup. If you're just watching this on social media or something somewhere, hey, don't rescind that offer. If you plan to rescind that offer, you better be talking to some high-level HR support company or to an attorney who has experience in this area. This is not a call for your payroll company's HR department sitting over, overseas someplace. You want to talk to somebody if you're going to rescind this kind of offer. And in many cases, based off the number of employees in your location, you cannot rescind this offer. You absolutely cannot rescind it. So again, context matters. I've given you all the context I can give you in this short period of time. I hope that in some way this was helpful.